Okay, so welcome to The Secret to Starting Right. I wanted to start with this. I decided that when I restarted doing these webinars, these will be on a podcast soon as well, and on YouTube. So wherever you're listening from, welcome. I'm Sandra Madafferi, and I am the creator of Sandra Madafferi Training and Mentoring, and also the Institute of Oneness Integration. I love what I do, and I'm hoping to bring this all to you over the, next couple of months at least that I have planned for these amazing weekly webinars and podcasts. So I want to start with one of the biggest things that I want to talk about first is my absolute passion before I actually get into this. And my passion is to be able to help people create wealth so that they can actually live the life that they want. And what do I mean by that? We all get into business because there's something that we want. We all get into business not because it's, business is easy, because self-employment is actually not easy whatsoever. But we all get into business because there's something that we want it to do for us. Whether it's a different lifestyle, whether it's being able to be your own boss, whatever it is. And I love bringing that passion that I have, showing people what it's like to be able to start your own business and be able to actually create the life that you want to live. And I'm lucky enough, I've been working in my own business for many, many years. And I'm very, very lucky to be able to say that, it's really come to fruition now. I was able to take 3 days off last week to go off on retreat. I have a couple of other retreats and seminars booked throughout this year, which I'm able to do because I am my own boss. So I'm hoping to show people how to be able to do that as well. Okay, so it does come with a little bit of hard work. It does come with preparation. It does come with having to, really have a look at your business on a regular basis and understanding what it is that's going on in your business. So today is about the secret of starting right. But what I want everyone to know is that this little secret, which is probably not a secret for many people, but it's something that people overlook, is something that you need to do on a regular basis. And it's something that you need to reevaluate or have a look at on a very regular basis. Because if you don't, you're going to run your business on autopilot, which is something that I did for a long, long time. I also ran my whole life on autopilot for a long, long time as well. And that doesn't work. You really need to have some strategies. You really need to have your mindset in the right space. And this is what I hope to bring you guys over the next, however long this goes. I don't make promises because I don't know, I plan, but I plan for specific time frames, and then I reevaluate. So let's have a look at the secrets of starting right. So I do encourage that anyone who's watching live on Facebook, please pop any questions that you might have underneath this video. If you are watching this now on the webinar, please pop any questions in the chat. And if you happen to be one of the people that will be listening to this on my podcast, please send me any questions or pop the questions in the appropriate chat area of the podcast. So let's start. Okay. So the very first thing that you need to do when it comes to being not just a business owner, but in your own life per se, you must be real with yourself. Okay. And when I say be real with yourself, this is not about, knocking yourself about or telling yourself how hopeless you are or saying to yourself that you should have done things better or not better. Being real with yourself is being able to actually have a look at what's working in your life and what's not working. what changes you have to do, what changes you have to make without knocking yourself about. There are things that we often do, okay, that work and don't work. But it's about becoming aware, and being real with yourself is the most important, because you know what? You don't have to tell anyone, but you do have to sit there and you do have to say to yourself, what is it that I'm doing right now that is unresourceful? Or what is it that I'm doing that is resourceful? And it's about making incremental changes. Now, when it comes to business, we're not talking just about business here. You see, a lot of people believe that business is all about strategies. It's all about getting those strategies right, and in will come the money and the business will flow in the background. But there's other things that you have to consider too. And your personal development, your life, the way you live your life, who you are on a day-to-day basis, what you do, what you eat, whether you exercise, and this is different for everybody, is very, very important. So you need to have a look at your life, you need to have a look at your business, and you need to really sit there and be really real with yourself. So as we go through these steps, we talk a little bit more about this, but you know what? If you're not real with yourself, you're only fooling you, because at the end of the day, this is about you changing what's going on for you and no one else. And like I said, people don't need to know things you need to change or things you need to do, but you need to be honest with you and not let things slide. One of my biggest mistakes when I started in business was that people would say things to me like, that's not going to work, why are you doing that? Especially when I started in this field, a lot of the people around me did not understand what it was that I was doing. You know, what is the mind sciences is very different now. I started in this field about 10 years ago and, you know, really heavily got into the science and the mind science and the study about 6 years ago. So it's now a lot more prominent, but people didn't know about it then. So you have to really stop and say to yourself, what's going on? So let's talk about stopping. So the very first thing that you need to do is you need to take stock, make a list, write it down. I find that a lot of people have things in their head. You know what? You've got to get things out of your head on a piece of paper. There's nothing like seeing something written down. And the first thing you need to do is you need to look at what it is that you need to stop doing. Now, this is not just in business. This goes across many, many areas. So yes, we do look at what we need to stop doing in business, but you also need to look at what you need to stop doing in your life. So it could be things like going to bed late, watching trashy TV. Okay, if you watch trashy TV and it brings your vibration down, it makes you feel not great, then you need to stop doing that. Okay, so you need to have a look at what is it that you need to stop doing. Okay, what is it that you're doing in your life that's not working for you? Now, this could also be, and this is a bit hard hitting, but there might be people around you that do not support you. Do you need to change the sort of people that you hang around with? Do you need to stop eating junk food? See, as a business owner, you are the business. Even if you have employees, even if you are a CEO of a company, it doesn't matter where you are on the scale of a business. If you don't show up 100% in your business will not run to 100%. If you show up unresourceful, if you're tired, you can't be bothered. If you're burnt out, you can't be bothered. So it's really, really important that you have a look at all the things that are not working for you. So I did this not long ago, and hence the reason why I went off to retreat. of last week, because it was really, really important for me to get some energy back into my life. I have had an incredibly busy few months starting 2022. It has not stopped. And I have reevaluated my business because there are some things that are just not working for me anymore. Now, the things that aren't working for me are not necessarily the things that aren't working for you. You need to have a look at what is not working for you. And this is not just about things that you do, but it's about everything as a whole. People who you're with, as I said, the foods you eat, whether you're, exercising. And you know what? Sometimes we put ourselves under a lot of pressure and we do things that we think we need to do, but they just don't work for us. So be real with yourself and make a list of all the things that are just not working for you anymore. Now, the next thing that you need to do is you need to have a look at, we went a bit far there. You need to have a look at some of the things that you need to start doing. What are some things that you know? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you have to keep going with these things, but there might be some things that you might be thinking about that you might want to start, either be in your life or be in your business. Now, I start things, all the time. I don't start everything at once. That's the other thing. Slowly start and implement some new and different things. But what are some things, possibly some things that you see other people doing that you might think might help you as well? So make a list of all the things that you think you want to start and do only one new thing at a time, because you have to evaluate whether that's going to work for you. Just because you get told that you have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, because everyone who's a high achiever gets up at 4:30 in the morning and they meditate for an hour and then they go for a walk and then they go to the gym, it doesn't mean that's going to work for you. I call that the shoulda, woulda, couldas. And I always say to people, if there's something that you want to start, you need to start it. And you need to then evaluate as to whether it is something that works for you or not. Getting up at 4:30 in the morning does not work for me. It just doesn't. I get up a lot later than that, and I get my meditation in and I get my walks in, but it doesn't mean that I have to get up at 4:30. But for some people, it does. Okay? So the only way you're going to know if something's going to work for you is to try it. Same goes for in your business. Sometimes you have to take that risk and go with a strategy. Try something new. Do something that scares you a little bit and see if it works for you. If you keep evaluating, if you keep looking at what it is that you're doing, you'll know fairly quickly, usually within a 21 to 30 days of you starting something new, you'll know if this is something you want to do or not. If it's not, stop it, scrub it off. If it is, then that's fine. But you need to take some risks, and this goes with your business as well. I can't believe how many people I speak to who really want to do something in their business, but unfortunately fear steps in and they don't do it. You'll never know if you don't give it a go. Okay, the trick there is to make sure that you're on top of what it is that you're doing. So what is it that you need to start? One of the biggest things that I find with people who want to start growing their business, social media is amazing. We've never had it easier to be able to get clients, but we've never had it harder as well. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of white noise. So perhaps you need to start creating live videos. Perhaps you need to start running webinars like what I'm doing now. But what is it that you need to start that you've not done? And any little incremental changes will actually improve or shift something in your business straight away. So we've got a list now of things we need to stop. And those can be done all at once. Just stop doing things that aren't working. get rid of them. Then we have a list of things we need to start, and we start doing those one at a time. Once you're comfortable with one, you go to the next one. And, you know, sometimes you might have a list of things that you want to start, and you might, you know, go with one of the things on that list, and you might find that you don't have to do some of the others. So you need to keep looking at this. I actually evaluate on pretty much a daily basis, small little targets, and the bigger targets I evaluate pretty much every quarter of the year, and massive big goals every 12 months. So I'm constantly having a look at, what do I need to stop? What do I need to start doing? And this was one of the things that I decided I needed to start doing again, because I just wanted to have that interaction again with the people in this group. Once you've done that, the next thing is, I don't know why this slideshow is doing this today, is that you need, what do you need to continue? So once you have your stop list, they're gone. Your start list, you also need to have a look at things that you're currently doing that are working for you. Now, some of the things that you start doing, you might move on to that continue list. Some of those things on that continue list might need to be reevaluated. And one of the things I can tell you about that is that with my VIP mastermind group, we constantly have a look at the changing face of social media. And with the changing face of social media, right, we need to evaluate constantly. And some things we continue and some things we don't do anymore. Okay. At the moment, my business is going through a transition. So I'm starting to do something different. But as we start going into those new things that I'm doing in my business, I need to evaluate each one to see whether I continue it. There are some things that I am continuing, which are working beautifully, and I will continue to do those. But you need to have a look at, when you implement new things, whether they are worth continuing. Sometimes things are worth continuing with just a little tweak. So some things that might not be working, they're sort of working, but quite not, just need to be tweaked. So you need a list of what are the things that you're doing that you need to continue. So perhaps meditation is one of those. I highly recommend meditation to absolutely everyone. It's one of the best ways to create new neuroplasticity. And of course, creating new neuroplasticity is all about being able to get out of your comfort zone and doing something different. And when you do something different happens outside of there. So we've got 3 lists now, and things can move in those lists. The stop need to go. They don't move. They just go. The start can go into continue. Okay. And the continue can go to stop. Or when you start going through that continue list, you might notice that there's some other things you need to start. So you need to keep looking at these lists. Write them down. Don't have them in your head. And the most important thing, okay, is you need to act now. Not in a week's time, not in 3 months, not waiting for something to happen, not using excuses as to why you can't stop doing something, because the minute you start getting into reasons as to why you can't stop something, why you can't start something and give it a go, okay, you're getting into fear. And nothing comes from fear. It just is your own thoughts stopping you. Fear is a false expectation appearing real. So you must take action, and you must take action immediately. Now, the reason why I say that is because a lot of people are actually addicted to thinking of plans and thinking of action, but never stepping into it. You see, every time we think of something, we actually have a chemical release in our body. Some of it is adrenaline, and it makes us feel good for that moment, but then we don't go past. And then the next day we think about doing something else, but we never take the action. The best time to take action is immediately. So after this webinar, If after you stop listening to it, watching this live, wherever you're watching this from or listening to it, act now. Take that action that you need. And yes, it can be scary, but that's what you have to do. And don't wait for the right time, because there is never, ever going to be a right time. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So take the action that you need, get what you need done, get out there and do it. And do it immediately, right now, not tomorrow, not the next day. So if you've got to make your lists today, you make those lists and you have a look at everything that you need to stop, you do it today. Everything that you need to start, you pick one thing and you have a look at the things you need to continue, but you need to do it immediately. If you wait, you will lose the momentum, because what happens, that adrenaline rush that you have will actually subside. And this is the reason why people never get things done, because they don't take immediate action. When I decided that I was going to do these webinars, I chose this first week of April. There was reasons behind why I chose this first week of April, and here we are. I didn't think about it. I just looked for a topic and went, right, let's just start right. Okay, and let's go. So immediate action. Don't wait. There's nothing to be gained from waiting. Because you know what? If you do start something and it's not the right thing, you can always put it on the stop list and get rid of it. And that's another thing. If you've got things on the stop list which you've written that are not working for you, get rid of them. There's so much fear around that. And I see so many business owners constantly doing the same thing that hasn't worked for months, but thinking it's going to work. It's not going to work. Get rid of it. If you feel later on that maybe you can introduce something that you stopped. I stopped these webinars. I've reintroduced them. There's no reason why you can't, but you have to take action. And this is a continuous cycle. Like I said, you will need to evaluate on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly and on a yearly basis. Now, if you're evaluating on a daily basis, you have to be a little bit more specific, and it's more incremental, small steps. One of the biggest problems is people get so overwhelmed because they look at the big picture. Oh my God, this is what I have won in a year. But cut that down. 365 days in a year to create that yearly goal. So why are you looking at the whole thing? So always reverse engineer, always look at it backwards, and remember, right, that you only need to evaluate day by day. There are things that I evaluate on a weekly basis, which are a little bit bigger. I'll have a look at my figures at the end of the week, have a look at how my ads have gone, have a look at how things have worked out for me on a weekly basis. But there are little things daily that I evaluate. So really, really have a look at that. And then monthly goals and then yearly goals. I actually have 3, 6 and 9 monthly as well. If you don't want to get to that sort of detail, that's absolutely fine. But I have some really big lists that I have and I evaluate. And if something isn't working, I get rid of it immediately. Whether it's in my life or whether it's in my business. And I found that since I started to implement some things that I needed to start doing, which was a lot more self-care for me, things have changed in my business. So you have a look at what it is that you need to do. And if necessary, just because you've put a plan into place, if it's not quite working, you can pivot. There's no reason why you can't change something. No reason at all. So it's not stuck in concrete. If something isn't quite working, then you know what? That's fine. Just pivot around. So thank you everyone for being here. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. This will go on my YouTube channel. It is also being streamed live into my Facebook group. And very, very soon, to be as in very soon, probably this week, also on a podcast. So a little bit different of a podcast than what most people are used to. I am not all about fancy frills. I'm about getting the information out there, but there will be a podcast for those who like to listen instead of watch. But I would like to thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you next week. I have a treat next week. We actually have a 1-hour webinar next week with some really great things, announcing a launch of a new product that I have. So I look forward to seeing you again, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Melbourne time. We've gone back to normal time. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can reach me at admin@sandramadafferi.com.au, and I will endeavour to get back to you ASAP. Again, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and bye for now.